So I'm jumping on here really quickly, and I'm actually waiting till this comes up so I can share it. And I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna hear a lot of background noise because the kids and all are going. Um, but I was sitting here cooking, and I'm really thinking about the fact that I'm able to do this today, whereas when I was working full time, I was not. So I'm just giving it a minute to show up here so that I can share it on my page. And I really want to hear from you guys for some of your input on the topic of mother and wife duties today versus yesterday. And when I say yesterday, and thank you for joining, hey, when I say yesterday, I don't mean the day before today. I really do mean the yesteryears when it was all about being at home and taking care of the household. Now, of course, it's not showing up so that I can share this, but that's all I'm waiting for is for it to show up so I can share it on my platforms so that we can talk about it. And while I'm waiting, how are you guys doing today? How's it going? 7 o'clock, so we all should be off from work by now. I would assume we should all be off from work by now. Some people may have just gone in. I'm going to find out where this live video is so I can share it. And then, of course, I will always have it to repost. All right, there we go. And I'm just sharing this right now to my Facebook page, because I want to hear from as many people as I can on this topic, because it's a necessary topic to talk about. Alrighty, so I have shared. I always like to make sure I can see as many people as possible. So, where this came up, and let me close this door over here. Kind of close me into the kitchen just a little bit because I got the kids going. So what prompted me to jump on this live really quickly is I had this drink chilling in the freezer like all day waiting for this evening. I got steaks over here marinating. I done seasoned them all up, sitting on the stove. I got a salmon that's sitting here seasoned up on the stove, ready to go. And so right now I'm cutting up some zucchini and squash because I also want to have zucchini and squash. Now, one thing that I can tell you is I actually had I don't say unfortunate, I do say the fortunate opportunity to have lost my full-time job as of May the 7th of this year. And while the pandemic was used as the, cover-up part of it, of course I know, and of course my notification just showed up. Of course I know better. So since I have not been working full-time, and I've been working full-time, honestly, since I was about 15 years old, and I got my first job at McDonald's, so I've always worked. And I had my first child when I was 18, second one by the time I was 19. And so I've always known that I needed to work to take care of the children, and I also needed to make sure that they ate. And so I'm sitting here as I'm cutting up this food, and hello, Shashawn, thank you for joining. And I really hope I'm on the right page. I hope that's my Coach K page I'm on, because y'all know I got too many pages here. So I think about that every single day for my girls when they were younger. I would work full time. I would pick them up from the daycare. I would make sure that whatever needed to, if they had homework, daycare sometimes have homework. It was Head Start. So I would make sure all that was done, make sure they had a bath and all. And while they were doing that, I cooked. So it's been a long time, Shashawn. I cooked. So every night I cooked. And I did this for many years because for many years it was just me and my girls. You know, who else is going to take care of them? Who else is going to cook for them if mom doesn't, right? Okay, thank you, Shashawn. I wanted to make sure. I always had to make sure that they ate. And so I cooked every single night for my children. Every single night. Because I had to. Moms don't get a day off. Any moms out there, you know, you don't get a day off. That's not a real thing, right? And so I'm sitting here, and I'm thinking that up until May 7th, I kind of did the same thing. You know, I was still working full time. I've, since had many kids. But I still made sure I came home and I cooked. And I did not cook as I used to when it was just me and my girls. And I think because I've now added a husband into the mix. So when I think about, and excuse the kids because they are definitely in the background, and this is an impromptu live, and I really jumped on here because of this cooking thing that I'm doing. So not only am I mom, but I'm now a wife. And if we think about the yesterday, and not literally yesterday, but if we think about the duties of a mother and a wife today versus yesterday, it's significantly different. It's different in the way that we're not looked at as, hey, you just take care of the household. I'll take care of everything outside the household. You make sure that the kids are straight. You just cook. And that's essentially what you do for the day. And if anyone has ever been a stay-at-home mother, they know that that is a full-time job in itself. I don't care if it's one child, two children, however many children. Taking care of children on a full-time basis as a stay-at-home mom is truly a full-time gig. So if you think about it, as a working mother and wife, now I didn't even throw this part in because being a wife is a full-time gig in itself too, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So if you think about it, if you are working an external job, which means that you go to somebody's place of business and you work 40 or however many hours that you work, when you get home to your children and to your spouse, you're now coming into your next full-time job. And I'm like, wow, that's why the meals that I used to cook 20 years ago for my girls didn't look like that up to May of this year. Because I had the mindset of they are my full-time job. And so I have to provide for them a certain type of way. But when the world, everything inflated, things cost more, I wanted better jobs. So I had more responsibilities. And with that comes the low energy. You not being able to do as much as you did when maybe you were a cashier at McDonald's, which was my first job, was a cashier at McDonald's. After I cashiered at McDonald's, I can come home and just shoot the shit all day long. It was nothing. But as you grow and you want those better positions, your management positions, you put in more time. Not just time, but you put in more effort. You're using your brain a lot more. And if you really sit back and think about it, when you run your brain, you drain your entire being. So as I'm sitting here cutting up this zucchini and squash, I think about how I haven't done this. I'm just throwing these in the trash. I have not been able to sit and cut up squash and zucchini since I don't know how many years ago because I simply didn't have the time. So to be able to prep a meal before my husband gets home, knowing that when he comes home, because he's been gone since 5 o'clock this morning. So when he gets home, he's going to be extremely tired. He just don't know he's still going to be cooking on that grill for me. But knowing that I can prepare a meal for him before he gets home, where all he has to do is put the meat on the grill, I'll help him, cook it up. Oh, I got to cut my onion because you got to have onion for your squash and zucchini now. Got to have onion in there. I almost forgot about that. It feels amazing. It really does. So I can understand how, if, you see those memes that how come relationships don't last like they did when your grandparents were whatever, the meme I'm talking about. Well, women today have a different level of responsibility and stress. Women today don't have the men of yesterday. We don't put up with as much mess, because I will say that while the men of yesterday took care of the household, they came with a lot of foolery that grandma dealt with, but many of us won't. That's just the reality. But I can understand why being a stay-at-home mom was truly a badge of honor. It feels good to be able to have a full meal, even if it's just prepped and not already cooked, but having that ready for your partner when they come in the door. It feels good that your children are off being loud, playing video games or doing whatever they're doing, and when they finish, you're able to have their meal waiting for them and ready. It's a certain sense of pride that you get when you're able to do these things. And when you're working those external full-time jobs, you're so drained at the end of it that you're simply not able to put that same time into it. And so the dynamic of households change dramatically. We go from wanting to be a wife and mom and wanting to do these things to saying, you know what? I ain't got time for it. I don't want no kids. I don't want no partner. I just want to do me because I just don't have time for it. You're not able to get that sense of pride that we used to be able to have. And I feel that. The only time I really took off work ever where I wasn't working was the 2 weeks to 6 weeks, because sometimes I took 2 weeks off with kids, in between having kids. So since May 7th of last year, when I wasn't working anymore, I'm now able to feel how good it feels to be able to prepare a meal. But it took me not working at all to be able to sit and prepare an entire meal for my family and still have enough time and energy to give them me when it's done. So mothering and wife partner duties today versus yesterday has significantly changed. And anyone that's watching, of course, definitely feel free to chime in, ask questions as you like. But I just wanted to make sure that I bring this up because there's somebody out there that's feeling that pressure. They're feeling that, oh my gosh, I want to feel like I want to prepare this meal for my family. I want to do this, but I'm just so tired. I get home and I'm just tired. I don't have the energy to do it. So what do you do in that situation? If you have to work, not working is not an option. But also not feeding your family is not an option because as women, we take pride in everything we do when it comes to our family. That's, one of the things when we create families, that's something that we truly take pride in. So how do we get around that? How do we combat that? How do we work within that? First thing I always say, if you don't drink, you can just get some juice. But when I'm ready to get my cook on or my clean or whatever, I put me a drink in the freezer and just let it sit. Nothing too strong. Why? Because it relaxes me. I want to be able to do all these things. And, you know, while I'm not working for someone else, I am working on my businesses. So in the meantime, I'm creating habits that I'll be able to repeat and still do as those businesses grow. So for anyone who's listening and watching and going to catch the replay, good evening. Hey, that's going to catch that replay every day. Give yourself, starting with 10 minutes every day of doing nothing. What does that mean? That means when you get home from work and you're extremely exhausted, I want you to just do nothing with yourself. Just be alone. And you can preface that to anyone around you. When I first get home, for the next 10 minutes, don't talk to me, don't ask me a question. If the house is not burned or someone's not dying, do not communicate with me. Grow that slowly over time. So maybe next week or after 2 weeks, add 5 minutes. So it's 15 minutes. So what that will do is, over a span of, let's say, 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to end up with an extra 45 minutes to an hour that you have set as your boundary time, that you do nothing but be with yourself. Don't sleep. You can rest, but don't sleep. Sit in a dark room, sit in the bathroom, sit in quiet, turn the water on, listen to the water, but use your boundary time to just sit with yourself. So what does this do? Why am I telling you this? What this will do is reset how you feel about your day. Typically when you come home, and I'm going back and forth, guys, because I am on Instagram as well as Facebook. So typically when you come home, you are so frustrated with the day. And especially if you're like me, a true and utter road rager, you are frustrated with whoever you was behind that was driving like they lost their damn mind. You bring that into your household. And when you bring that into your household, you spread that to everybody that's in there. You spread it to them, they regurgitate it back to you. Now you all are in this vicious cycle of bringing all of that outside mess into the house. So by you starting to set a slow boundary around yourself, you're able to almost get back to the mother and wife of yesterday, when she was able to steal off on time for herself. We might not know it. Her partner may not have known it, and her children may not know it. We don't even know what time of day it was. But I can guarantee any woman who's able to endure all of what our moms and wives did yesterday, anyone that's able to endure all of that foolery that they knew was going on, they had to deal with it, trust me, they took time for themselves. So women and wives and mothers of today, I am challenging you to start building out time for you to decompress, get rid of all of that outsideness so that you don't bring it into your household. So that after that 1 hour, if you get off at 5 o'clock, you get home by 5:30. If you're able to sit with just yourself for 1 full hour, thank you for joining. Hey, how you doing? By 6:30, you have reset exactly how you feel and how you're going to take on the rest of the evening. And I am giving you my word. I always say promises are meant to be broken, but my word is my bond. If you try this exercise, by the time you get up to, I say week 2 and you've done the 15 minutes, you're going to notice a difference, not in just you, but in the people in your household. Now, they're not going to like it at first. They're not going to like the fact that you told them, don't talk to me for 10 minutes. Don't talk to me, because you mom, you are white. You supposed to be talked to whenever people tell you, skirt, can that. They're not going to like it at first. So you're going to have to use that part. But eventually, you will start to see a shift in the household. Because as women, wives, mothers, we shape how the household functions. Whether you want to believe it or not, you determine the happiness of the entire household, down to the dog. When I'm upset, my dog go and hide. She don't want to be near me. I don't want to be near her either, because that's in my path. Everybody can catch it at that point. But moms and wives of today, I want you to start setting boundaries around yourself. And I want you to try this exercise. And I want you to even mark it on the calendar. Put it in your phone right now when you should get to that full hour. And I want to hear back from you. I want to know how that's working for you. Because trust me, when you set that boundary, you're going to set your household up to show up differently. You're going to start showing up differently. And that means that every day at 6:30, you might be ready to cut you a whole bowl of squash and zucchini, cut them onions up, marinate them steaks, marinate that salmon, and get ready for that grilling. You're just going to feel different. So I just know that anytime it's on my heart to speak, I'm learning that I will speak. I don't know who it is that needed to hear this tonight, or that may need to catch a replay later. But this is for you. I'm doing this because you needed this. I never introduced myself because hopefully you guys know who I am, but I'm Coach K. So if you ever feel the need that you would like to do one-on-one sessions, or you want to get some more tips on how to decompress your day and show up a better version of yourself, wife and mom, or just woman, always feel, yes, you do have to do more me time. Me time matters. Speak on it. Me time matters. You guys are always, feel free to reach out to me. That is what I'm here for. Don't feel like, I don't want to bother. That's what I'm here for. My entire purpose of my practice as a sexuality coach is to focus on women and getting them from that overwhelmed place to being encouraged. Encouraged to be who they want to be, to do what they want to do, to love who they want to love, to hate who they want to hate. Hey, whatever it is. That's my entire focus of my practice. So when I am receiving this from wherever it's coming from, that someone needs this message, I'm going to always jump on. So make sure y'all notifications are turned on, because you never know when that spirit going to hit me, and I'm going to jump on here and I'm going to talk to you. So I thank y'all for rocking with me. I'm going to season up these vegetables while my steak and my salmon are seasoned and marinating. And I'm going to get my husband is, but we're going to pull that grill out tonight. We're going to grill all this food. I'm going to eat good. I'm going to trust that you guys are going to start your exercise this coming week. I'm going to finish this drink right here, pina colada plus rum. It's good for you. And I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a good night. Goodbye.